$5 million service company raised prices 2.5 times and revenue went up 40% in 6 months. And I'm going to show you every number. Most owners think if you raise prices significantly, you'll lose clients, close rate will tank, and revenue will drop. So they raise 5, maybe 10%, and then nothing changes. Here's what actually happened. The close rate, it drops from 65% to 38%, and that's exactly what you want to see. That drop is the proof the pricing was right, not a warning sign. We run this diagnostic across service businesses from 2 to 20 million. The pattern is the same every time the close rate is above 50%. The business is underpriced, and the math always works in the same direction. I'm going to walk you through 2 real companies, the full diagnosis, the pricing moves, what went wrong, and the final numbers. And the second company did something even more aggressive than the first. Here's where this company started. 5 million in revenue, 2.4 million in COGS. That's 52% gross margin, 12 points below the 60% target in the framework. But the gross margin number alone doesn't tell you what's broken. That's where the diagnostic comes in. 2 signals told us everything. Close rate, 65%. If you watch the last video, you know what that means. The 60 to 80% band says double to triple your prices. This company was closing 2 out of every 3 proposals. The market was saying yes too easily, which means the price was too low. Labor efficiency, 2.1. That's crisis territory. Anything below 2.5 means your delivery team costs too much relative to what you're charging. But here's the key. The team was maxed out. They weren't sitting around. The problem wasn't volume, it wasn't efficiency, it was purely price. The diagnosis was clear. The company needed to raise prices 2 to 2.5 times. That's the diagnosis. Now watch what happens when they actually pull the trigger, because the revenue math here is not what you'd expect. They went from 60,000 per year per client to 150,000. That's a 2.5 times increase on all new customers. Effectively, we did that over time. Existing clients got a 50% increase phased over a 12-month renewal. So we did that over time. We started with our lowest performing people, the ones that were the most annoying. We went to our mid-tier clients next, and then we went to our best over time as we were bringing in new clients. We didn't just flip that switch. Now, here's the part everyone wants to know. What happened to the close rate? It dropped from 65% down to 38%. And that's the signal that the pricing is right. 30 to 40% close rate means you're priced where you should be. The people saying yes actually value what you do at that number. The people saying no, we're only buying because it was cheap. Now, the math. Revenue went from 5 million to 7 million. 40% growth from pricing alone. And here's the part that most people miss. COGS, it didn't move. We had the same team, the same work, same delivery costs, 2.4 million before, 2.4 million after. The only thing that changed was how much they charged for the work. Now, we did have clients drop off. All of the people that we wanted to fall off did. The high touch clients that we charged too little but wanted everything we could do, like everything they could squeeze out of us, ultimately ended up quitting and moving to someone else that would accept that type of work. We wanted the clients that were going to appreciate what we did. And that takes gross margin from 52% to 65.7. They blew past the 60% target in 6 months without hiring anyone, without cutting anything, and without changing how they deliver. Look at your own numbers right now. If your close rate is above 50%, you're sitting on the same gap. And that's one company, but I said I'd show you 2. And the second one started in worse shape and made an even more aggressive move. And the owner almost blew the whole thing up. Here's what I see at this stage of the diagnostic more often than I'd like. An owner who knows they're underpriced, they see the data, they agree to the increase, and then they panic the moment the prospect pushes back, or if we're raising prices internally, the client. This was a $2.5 million marketing agency, 45% gross margin, and a close rate of 82%. 82% close rate. In the framework, that's the most aggressive band. Triple to quadruple your prices. They were charging $36,000 a year per client. The diagnostic said it should be north of 100. They went to $120,000, 3.3 times the old price, like new clients only. Effective immediately. Existing clients got a 50% increase at renewal. Close rate dropped from 82 to 42%, right in that healthy range. Revenue went from 2.5 million to 3.8 million, 52% growth from pricing alone. COGS held flat at 1.375. Gross margin jumped from 45 to 63%. But here's here's what doesn't show up in the numbers. 2 of their top 5 clients pushed back hard on the renewal increase. One threatened to leave. The owner panicked, genuinely considering rolling back to the old pricing across the board. That would have killed the entire play. Instead, after some backwards and forwards, they held firm on the new clients and offered the 2 resistant clients a 6-month transition. 25% now, the rest at month 7. One stayed, one left. And the one that left was replaced within 60 days by a new client at 3.3 times the old price. Friction is real. Every pricing increase has a moment where the owner wants to bail. The data has to hold you through. Make sure that you have the data in front of you and structured correctly in your P&L and all of your sales and marketing information. So 2 companies, same diagnosis, same direction, same result. Revenue up, COGS flat, gross margin transformed. But there's something bigger happening here that neither of those P&Ls show on their own. Most owners think a pricing increase is a gross margin play, but it's not only a gross margin play. And that's what makes COGS the first diagnostic in the system. When revenue goes up and COGS stays flat, gross margin improves. You've seen that twice now, but think about what else stays flat when you raise prices. Your sales and marketing spend didn't change. Your overhead didn't change. Same office, same admin team, same software. That means sales and marketing as a percentage of revenue just dropped. G&A as a percentage of revenue just dropped, and you didn't touch those budgets. The pricing increase shrank them automatically. One pricing decision moved all 3 numbers into the 60-15-15 framework and towards that target. That's why the diagnostic starts with COGS. It has the widest blast radius of any single fix in the system. Now, keep in mind, if you don't have a good sales and marketing system, if you do not have reliable and consistent lead flow, doing the price increase as aggressively as what we did here is not necessarily going to be the best move. We have to ease this in because otherwise you're going to raise prices. Everyone's really scared and it gets fearful around raising those prices to these new levels because we don't know where our next client is coming from. So we have to deal with that a little bit different. But that's just something to keep in mind when doing this. But we should be spending at least 15% in sales and marketing. And those companies that aren't traditionally do not have reliable and consistent leads. And I'll show you the full math on that cross effect in the next video because it's bigger than most people realize. So 2 companies, same diagnostic. Close rates screaming underpriced. Pricing increases of 2.5 to 3.3 times. Revenue up 40 to 50%. Cost of goods sold flat. Gross margin transformed. And that's before touching labor or delivery costs. In the next video, I'm breaking down exactly how a single pricing fix accidentally improves your entire P&L, all 3 numbers, without changing a dollar of spend anywhere else. The math on this is the most underrated insight into the whole system. And if you want us to run this diagnostic on your actual numbers with a free tax plan and an enterprise value report, the link's in the description. There's only 15 spots a month for people to talk with us. And what's your close rate right now? Let's drop it in the comments and I'll tell you what band you're in.